Hello, Massive and crew. You already know. Another episode of Reels and Riddims brought to you by Carry On Friends in partnership with Style Plus Beer Vibes and Breadfruit Media. And Reels and Rhythms brings you commentary, reviews, and perspective on what's going on in the world of TV, film, and concerts with plenteous vibes, as only Michaela and I can. And this is all through the lens of Caribbean culture, Caribbean American, immigrant, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, all of the generation experiences. Um, Michaela, walk on. Why you laughing?
By the time you reach seven, we say, Lord God,
I want to be
Carrie,
inclusive.
you stop coming to my head when me I get just for them episode, yeah, because I don't know, all we always end up in the same top and the same lipstick. I don't know.
I think your lipstick brighter than mine. I
And the
decide
light, man, is
I
like
the
a
light
nude. It's just because I'm sitting in front of the light
directly in
in
front of
front of
it.
me is so bright it looks a little shinier than it appears. But yes,
It work out
it
because
worked.
you always go have the tall ear and I will have the ear at the back.
It not all today, can you take out the braids?
Yes, so in today's episode, I love these what we've been watching episodes because we get to talk about a whole bunch of stuff we're watching. So
Yes.
this is our what we've been watching spring edition. I've been watching a lot of stuff, but me only want to focus on a few things. Yeah, so I'm excited. And then after we talk about what we've been watching, we talk about what we look forward to, either a new release or something that already come out that we haven't watched yet. So we're ready.
And I was looking at the list. I'm like, there's only a handful of, there's only
Overlaps
overlaps. Yes. I think that this would also be interesting. So should we save the ones where we overlap for the end
for
or the chat it out in the beginning?
no, do like what we did do the last episode. You just run your list and then me run my list and then we just
Okay.
talk through whichever one.
All right, all right. All right. So on my list, I have Swagger, which is on Apple TV, Zero Day on Netflix, The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Lived, which is on Netflix, Trial by Fire on Netflix. Lots of Netflix recently. Back in Action, Apple Cider Vinegar on Netflix. Young, Famous, and African on Netflix, Luther documentary on HBO Max, Clean Slate on Amazon Prime, and Paradise on Hulu. Lots of
Mm.
things.
Mm. All right,
Lots of
some
things.
overlap, some overlap. All right, so I did start Zero Day, and me say, you know what, me da watch too much of the mix up thing, and my brain no need the entanglements. So I watched the first episode of Zero Day, so me get to finish that. I'm watching Paradise on Hulu. Well, I done watch Paradise on Hulu. Luther on HBO Max, Court of Gold on Netflix. I Beat the Dream Team on HBO Max. I did watch Night Agent on Netflix, Back in Action. We watched that. And then I've been really enjoying some short films and projects by Icon Media, straight out of Jamaica. And I watched a documentary on the history of surfing in Jamaica, which is very interesting, and a short film called Tomorrow is Your Day. All right. So, what's Swagger about?
So Swagger is about a teen. It stars O'Shea Jackson, Ice
Oh,
Cube's son,
are the one with
and
the motif
he
in Europe?
no. I did watch that movie. I didn't put it on the list. So no, this is a it's such an underrated series. I think you would like it. The boys would absolutely love it. It is a teen not even a teen, he's a preteen when we are introduced to him. He's like 13, 14 years old, basketball phenom, and he is going
I know.
to
This is
yeah.
the one that Kevin Durant had something to do
Yes,
with.
it's Kevin
Okay.
Durant. Yes, it's Kevin Durant's production company. And it follows, it's only 2 seasons and it stops there. It's on Apple TV, and it's really the journey of this young basketball player and his team. And I love how they kind of position it. It's very in modern times. It says at the beginning it was like pre ABC, and it was like Breonna Taylor. It was like pre Breonna Taylor Black Lives Matter movement, but the way that they had positioned it, I can't remember. And should I write it down in my notes?
Mm.
Um, and so like it was their journey in this current situation. Like it goes through COVID and what happened to the protests, and
Is it
it's not a real
AB
story.
Amari?
Ahmad
Ahmad.
Arbery,
Yeah.
Breonna Taylor,
And maybe
and
COVID?
COVID. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Pre ABC. Yeah, that's how they kind of started. And it's such a great story. It's
Hmm.
such a refreshing experience for a young black cast, young black boys experience, like watching them experiencing joy. It gave me so many heart palpitations anticipating what was next, but it ended on such a beautiful note that I think that it's a really good watch. And if you remember Annie, the remake with Jamie Foxx
Hmm.
and
Provisioning.
Quovenzine. So Quovenzine is in
Hmm.
there, and she's all grown up. So you
Hmm.
know you see her in a much different light because she's his best friend.
Hmm.
So it really it's definitely just a touching tug at your heartstrings kind of story that Kirk and I both watched and enjoyed. So and I watched it as well, and it was really good.
A lot of sports themes in our thing because you watched that Swagger where I watched the documentary, and I know me and your husband watched Court of Gold.
Yes, yes. The
And
the two one I chat through my ears. I talk about this documentary.
yes, and then backed up watching I Beat the Dream Team, and Nico and I had watched, over COVID, the Dream Team documentary. So it was very interesting to see because I personally liked the players who were the college players. So C Webb, Grant Hill, all of them. So it was very interesting just to see that angle of
Mhm.
it. And of course, Court of Gold was really just nice to watch and just see it from that angle, which is like we've seen it watching it as it's happening in the Olympics. And now to see the behind the scenes and the
Mhm.
preparation behind it was really cool. I did like that they showed the players enjoying the other athletes, like following them to go watch different Olympic finals. Of course, SGA, his mom is a track athlete from Antigua, so he had to go take in the men's 100-meter final. So that was
Mhm.
cool to kind of see that as well. So yeah, there's definitely a sports theme in there. Um
Mhm.
I want to save the two that we watched together for last.
Okay.
Um because I really want to go into them. Anything else you want to talk about? I mean, let me see.
I think apple cider vinegar is worth the watch too.
Listen,
Like
no, listen. All right, I'm gonna say this, and I don't know if I want to edit this out. I does not want to watch any more
white
of
scammer stories.
exactly. You said it. I did not. I don't want to watch it because I feel like the treatment glamorizes it, and if I were somebody else of color, it wouldn't get a special artist level of treatment. That's just how I feel. Um, yeah, me can't watch it. Besides, what I haven't told you is that I've been watching watch How I Escaped a Cult. I watched two episodes. The first episode, and I was like, oh my God. And then I scrolled down and saw the black episode with the black cult, and I was like, oh God, I'm traumatized. So my husband is like, why you watch it? And I'm like, becoming curious. None of them said that, oh, I'm going to get up today and join a cult. None of them said that. All right. It just so happened that as they were going along, they were in a cult.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
me curious because me not gonna say I will never fall victim. I want understand how this happened, but it's traumatic. And then me watch the Hulu one with the woman who get sentenced for abusing 60 years for abusing her kids. Oh Lord Jesus.
No, I
Um
didn't watch that one.
So me good pan this the scammer and
Yeah,
all of them
yeah.
things. Me just good pan it. Me good. Yeah,
No,
me too.
I was intrigued, and it's funny because one of the actors that was in the Anna Delvey story, she is in this one too. So that must be her lane is scamming because she's also in another show on Netflix. So I think that it is what it is. I totally understand. I liked Young, Famous, and African, but I wanted them like something was I'm like, do they just get dressed up to go sit down in like all of these events and extravagant gowns that they're wearing just to sit at a table where nobody is? I'm just like, I want some life. Like I want to see more of what they do in their day. Like all they do is sit down and talk about issues that they have with each other. I want to know more about like their careers, like what they
And
do,
day to
like
day.
take
Mm-hmm.
me on a swanky shoot. Like I want to see Swanky like
Mm.
in his element doing his thing. Annie doing her thing with her kids. I mean, I know you probably don't want your kids in there, but a lot of them aren't just socialites. So I feel like they're only highlighting that particular part. So I like the character. I like the people on Young, Famous, and African. I do want them to show more of like them and their working element besides all of this drama. So that I think was probably the only other one. Walking Dead, you don't really watch them type of show this. So and then Zero Day. I feel like Zero Day and Paradise. There are
Yeah,
just
that's why I pause off
yeah,
at the
yeah,
0 day because I was like,
yeah,
wait,
yeah.
wait, wait,
But
wait,
I
wait, wait.
interesting because you told me about Paradise, but I watched Zero Day first, so I'm not having the same reaction that everybody else is having around Paradise, and I think it might be because I watched
You gotta
Zero
watch
Day.
0 day.
Yeah,
Um,
and
okay.
to be honest, they're not really the same, but it's like this presidential
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. Yeah.
element to it. Yeah, so it feels similar.
Yeah, me don't know when me gonna go back into 0 day. Me just like, me just need a minute. And because lately I feel like I've been like having brain fog, Robert De Niro character that I remember, and they go say, who is so and so at the end. I was like, Lord Jesus, no, me need a break. This is
Yeah,
this.
it's an what I do like the angle. What I love about is, these types of themes aren't new, but what they are bringing is different angles.
Yeah,
As long as you like kind of watch it through, so that initial shock is there, and then when you watch it through, like you see the nuance and the differences, and it's like, oh gosh, and it's just
yeah.
like, how do they come up with some of these things? Like it's
Mm.
so interesting. So for Paradise, I didn't
Wait,
watch all of it.
I didn't get
Okay, go
to
on.
my other one. So, Icon Media's Tomorrow is Your Day.
Okay, yes.
It's a short film. Yeah, try remember how short it is. Yeah, it's about 33 minutes, but I
Hmm.
really enjoyed it. It's a short film filmed in Jamaica. And I didn't know what I was getting into, but I think like maybe in 5, 10 minutes, I kind of had a sense I was picking up certain things.
Hmm.
And it follows this young boy and his friends, and they're almost like um what they would call them, the street boys, the young boys and what they're on the road at Jamaica. And one of them is extra special. And I feel, and the reason why I'm excited about or I like it is because I feel like it's it's a different genre, of film. Me don't know if me gonna give it everything. I just want people to watch it. It's almost like, I want to say, a little sci-fi y without being a sci-fi. It kind of reminded me of when I watched it, Supercell. It kind
Okay,
of reminded
okay.
me of Supercell where
So you mean
there's
special in a good way?
wait, yeah.
Like a
Like they have, it's like, I want
certain
to
kind
say
of power?
almost powers,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
But it's not like dress up in a cape and everything, but I
Mhm.
did enjoy watching it cuz I was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah." So I would watch Tomorrow is Your Day because I feel like as it unfolds, you kind of realize what is happening. And I would love to
Mhm.
see it developed a little bit more
Yeah.
because as a short film, it's just really in a compact time, but it's worth a 33 minute watch. So yeah. Now to Paradise. I'm watch every single episode and luckily for you, you are spared the wrath of when I'm watching something and I am mad with certain characters. I pick up the phone and I'm texting Indira. I'm like, this woman, me not like her. Me not like.
Sinatra?
Yes. No,
Yeah.
and the psychologist. Me say she fool, you see? She just fool, she just gullible. She thinks that like I was tracing the whole time. Because me pre the thing. Me pre the thing. I'm like,
I did pre Sinatra, and I like, I was like, about the therapist. I was just like, she seemed too convenient.
you plan for watching last episode?
I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, I'll probably finish it tomorrow.
I mean, I was just she keep defending Sinatra, and I'm like, my girl, wake up, and see the color of the sun. But I really truly enjoyed it because, you know, when you watch a lot of movies, you kind of can see the plots and
Mhm.
where it's going. So you kind of not really chat out the movie, but you already know. We can chat it out with my husband because me go say, babe, what you know, what you go happen, this and that go happen, and he's used to it. But for this one, it was just like, I don't know what is gonna come here. It's so unusual. But Paradise, I was telling Nico that it reminded me of another similar movie to your point that these aren't new. It was with Chiwetel. But this time they were.
Oh, where they were on the boat, the
Yes, yes.
the
I
Noah's
think
Ark kind of
Noah's Ark.
situation. Yeah,
Yes,
the
yes.
end of the world,
Y-
and
It said one.
yeah,
It said
yeah,
one.
yeah,
2012
yes,
was the name of it. So I was like, the concept, this idea of the end of the world, only few people go survive. I personally feel like them are writing enough story about it. Me go believe say rich people them already booked them ticket on a space
y-
shuttle with their
yeah.
family.
That's yes.
Them
I
have
fully agree.
them
I
have
fully agree. And
them
them
have
all them
them
only gonna, whoever have money only gonna take the black people them what they like.
Yeah, listen, them have a Earth exit strategy, right?
Yes.
And we are not part of the Earth
We
exit
are not
strategy.
part of the Earth exit strategy.
It,
Yes, I have already come to that conclusion
yes, yes,
myself.
no, we are not part of it. But yeah, like enough movies have done it. I'm like, this is happening in real life, you know.
But that's what happened with a lot of sci-fi. Because if you think about it, like Eagle Eye,
Oh my
like if you
gosh, I
think about the
loved Eagle
concept
Eye.
of
Oh my,
Eagle Eye and where we are now, like
I Robot.
it's iRobot. It's all of the, like, someone thinking of it, and then eventually it kind of plays
Or
it like, yeah,
Or the technology exists, and by the time, this is what I think, by the time they put it in movies that this is happening, they've already developed the
surpassed it.
technology that
Yeah,
surpasses that.
yeah.
It's the same
But
thing
I
about
I was I think I was watching something. It was something science related. It might have been like a clip or a video. And it said a lot of times scientists use sci-fi as like the
inspiration,
imaginary
of course.
exploration of what could happen. And then they kind of use that as the hypothesis and then start to work towards, well, what if? What would this look like? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like art imitating life that's imitating art, kind
Mm-hmm.
of a conversation, which I it's definitely interesting. But like you said, I think if any kind of end ideas thing, we just like go pray to the Lord and hope for the best. And yeah, that's how we do it.
Yeah, but I've been trying to watch Eagle Eye again, but me not on pay feet, but I really did enjoy it. I did
Yeah,
like
Eagle Eye
Shia
was good.
LaBeouf.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um.
I think
Okay.
if you need like a refreshing, different perspective, Clean Slate is good. It's a comedy on Amazon Prime. It has I think his name is George Wallace. He's a comedian,
Oh
so it's
yeah,
really
with
funny. And Laverne
Vern.
Cox,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So it's basically about her character returning. He left Desmond and came back Desiree
Mm-hmm.
to this Alabama city with her dad, and it's really that coming home kind of story, and it is pretty funny. Like, it's
Mm,
hilarious. So it's a good, like, it's one season, and it's laugh out loud, kind of funny. It was a good watch if you liked like The Neighborhood with Cedric the Entertainer, or like
mm.
um what's that one with Mike Epps on Netflix?
Upshaws. I've been watching that.
Upshaws, yeah, if you like Upshaws, like stuff like that, like just feel good,
Yeah.
laugh out
Yeah,
loud
sometimes
kinda.
me need a break from the thriller, the
Yeah,
suspense,
yeah,
the pie
yeah, you
pie,
need,
all of
yeah,
this.
yeah,
It's
that's a
like,
good one to kind of break too,
yeah.
so.
I did enjoy Back in Action with Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz. I
Yeah,
did enjoy. My
and it's
girl
funny we
said,
mentioned Annie and they were both in that too.
yes. My
Yeah.
girl said it is my what she said? Something like my extraordinary thigh muscles that kept you alive. I was just like, mm-hmm.
They were good together, they had really good
Yeah,
chemistry. Yeah,
they
I did
did.
enjoy it too. Them kids was bratty though, oh my god, I wanted
Listen,
to ring the
I
little
was
gyal.
listen, Mr. Delica. And she's like, do you want to go with her? So as I was watching it with my sister-in-law said, yes, little boy, right question you asked. She that asked the wrong question. Like little boy
Mhm.
is like, but I did enjoy it. It was a good laugh.
Yeah.
The girl was like, it's because he's white. And Jamie's like, your mother's white. Like, what do you mean you don't like him because he's white?
Yes, yes.
I really like Glenn Close as the grandmother. Um
Yes, yes, she
and the
was good.
boyfriend, but oh, I'm training for
In my
MI6.
top secret, baby can't
Yeah.
know nothing.
She go,
Like, you're not really here for that, sweetie. But it was good. Yeah, yeah, it was an easy watch. I think I watched it like on a Friday night.
yeah.
Like, it
All
was
right.
good. It was good.
So the big thing that we're saving for last is Luther. Can I tell you, I love Luther Vandross. Like, I cannot tell you how much I love Luther Vandross. Like, love.
And as much as as little as I knew about his career, I really did not know he was from New York. I
You
did
didn't?
not know he was from Harlem. I did not know about him being on Sesame Street. And it's just like, this is crazy because I grew up watching like old school Sesame Street. And I don't remember, but I don't think by the time I was watching him, I was watching Sesame Street that he was on there. I think it was in those earlier, like
Early
first
days
beginning
where
days. And I'm just like, he had a career.
but
Career.
let's talk about that. Like when I mean there were some things I didn't really realize about his career, and this is what I enjoyed about it. So let's go back to Sesame Street. The creator of Sesame Street modeled Sesame Street of Harlem.
Yes, yes,
And I
yes.
was just
I
like,
do know that. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not
Because
know
if you
that.
look at the structure of like those old, like when they were outside, it was basically, you saw the bodega, you saw
I ain't pay
like
attention
the
to none of
school
that.
bus, the school, like the houses were in, like, they were basically like row houses.
But you also have to remember when you are watching Sesame Street or at that time, Medea, Jamaica, I don't have any
Yeah,
context
yeah,
of
yeah,
what
yeah,
Harlem is, right? And by the time I come here, I now watch Sesame Street,
yeah,
Edith the Pitney. I mean, when Era was young, all she watches Elmo's world, and Elmo really wasn't on the street, he was in his
yes,
own world. So
yes, yeah.
that was
That's true.
fascinating to know. So I did know about him growing up in New York. I did know that his family calls him Ronnie. I did find it fascinating that I knew he worked with um Roberta Flack because when I was growing up in Jamaica, I loved my brother and I would kill this movie that was on VHS called Bustin' Loose, and it starred Richard Pryor and Cicely Tyson, and the
Mhm.
entire soundtrack was Roberta Flack, and in the background Luther was singing, like backgrounds on some of the songs
Mhm.
there, and I thought like, oh my God, just so beautiful. But what I didn't realize was how he worked with David Bowie. You know,
Mhm.
I did know
I did not
about
know that.
Chic.
I did not know that. I didn't know, but I
I
like
didn't know
he
about
had
the
a whole entire
commercials.
the commercial. Like I just didn't know. Like I
Yeah.
also think what was so intriguing, and it wasn't the first time. I think even the Whitney documentary kind of talked about how much she loved background singing and how that was a legit career option to just do background vocals for people and the frequency of what they would do in live performance, and that's how they honed their craft. And I think the last true stories that I heard around background singers is Cheryl Crow and Mary J. Blige, and
Actually,
how
no. We missed one, Kelly Price, because remember Kelly Price was background singer for Mariah Carey.
me never even know that.
Oh, you.
Me
Oh,
never,
yeah.
me never know that. You just tell me that. So, and it's just like, and I've heard of like singers. I know singers who have turned writers, but like actual back the ability to kind of transition this background singing career into like they didn't just sing back up on stage. It was on the records and multiple records and for different kinds of artists. And I was just I'm so in love with that 70s 80s era of collaboration that happened between artists that I just think doesn't happen anymore. And
Mhm.
so just watching it from the outside, like jam sessions and being in the same studio and going next door and doing this and going somewhere else and just tinkering on different types of instruments, like does that happen now? I don't know. I'm making assumptions, but I really just don't know if that happens.
I think I think there we're not musicians, we are music lovers, and I don't know if the artists nowadays are finding ways for that collaborative initiative because it is human to collaborate. Like you and I, we find ways to connect
Mhm.
and to collaborate. So I'm thinking they find their own way. We just don't see it or it's not really visible to us. But back then in the 90s, 80s, and before that, it was clearly visible because there was no one doing it in their house. They had to go to a studio, to a place kind of
Yeah, that is true.
established to
Yeah.
do that. So it was easy to
Yeah.
see them assembled in one place. But oh my God, there were just so many things. One of the shows that I edit, they always talk about how a lot of the songs that we know of Luther are not his songs. They're mostly
Cover
songs
songs.
by Dionne Warwick, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And it was good to kind of see how he felt about Dion and like the Supremes and how much they were an inspiration for him, that
Mhm.
for him he felt it privileged to sing their songs. And
Yeah.
notice he didn't try to sing their songs when he started out. He did them at a point in his career where he felt like he had done something enough to be able to give the songs justice. I mean, the Dion version of the songs are classic, but Luther just gave them a whole new life. And
Mhm.
I love those stories where someone could take a song, cover the song, and make it an entirely new thing. The way
Yeah.
that, Whitney did the I Will Always Love You, like
Mhm.
there's just something about that. But the other thing that was fascinating for me was hearing, I think for the first time, Luther feeling that he was boxed in and he didn't win awards or he wasn't able to cross over in a particular way. Um, I think that was new. And I think it's because of who he was that he didn't make a fuss out of it.
Mhm.
That was new. I mean, the weight thing, I didn't paid any mind because Fatar skinny. I love Luther.
Mhm.
I think when I look at the documentary, I keep thinking the one regret, like I remember listening to the radio and he was at Radio City Music Hall but also at the time I was young. I was in my early 20s, so going to a Luther concert was like, oh, I got time until I didn't, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
So The other thing too, like Nico was like, I've never seen the interview with him and Oprah after the stroke. And I'm like, I don't remember seeing that either. And that was for me very striking. And I think that affected me after I've watched it. I couldn't help but think about it and
Mhm.
think about how he must have felt because he lived to sing. You know, he didn't sing to make a living, he lived to sing.
Mhm.
And knowing, having experience with someone who's had a stroke and who's not, who didn't get medical attention within that critical window, it is difficult because you're never going to be the same again. So for me, not only did it kind of bring up the emotions with my experience of my loved one, but to see somebody's music who I enjoyed so much kind of in that really
Mhm.
affected me a lot. Um, yeah, but it was wonderful. I loved it.
Yeah.
Just to sing, it was just amazing.
Yeah, he is and there were so many parallels between he and Whitney in terms of like just they were like singers, like singer and they were like fans of singers and true to their gift to the very end.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I remember his Dance with My Father song. I remember, the song with the video with Garcelle Bouvet. Like I remember him being on 106 in Park and not even really thinking that that was like his next act kind of situation. It's just like, oh, that's Luther. He's like a legend. Like, you know what I mean? So I just think it was so nostalgic and to really learn a lot about his early years. And I have so many memories with, I mean, my father loved him some Luther. Like all he would play is Luther, Michael Jackson, a couple of disco records, and like two Tupac songs. But the catalog was like Luther jazz and like a couple of deep cut records that he happened to enjoy, but Luther was on repeat
Listen,
all the time.
Luther.
All the cassettes, all the like I cassette, vinyl, like you cleaning the vinyl. Like I have, so many really good memories and
Yeah.
just like he has such an extensive catalog too.
Oh my
And can we
gosh.
talk about the fashions on stage? Like he was having like these full sequence
The
ball
gowns, yeah.
gowns and
The
like
clips
I'm
that
just
they
like
had,
the
they
effort.
I
Yes.
I believe there was a show he did. I mean, it was the same costume, but he at Radio City Hall there is some special they did. They filmed it, and I remember seeing that. Like he was a singer, and I think this is the part that I didn't see. Not only was he you let me get my thoughts. Not only was he a singer, but he was really arranging and he was deep into the production and he was like, come, it was just like, I did not, I did not realize
Hmm.
that about him. Like
Yeah.
he was doing everything and it was just like,
Yeah.
wow. Like he was real. And I'm not saying I'm surprised, but it was just how he carried himself. You're just like, we just know him
He
as
was
a
way too
singer.
nonchalant for the
Not
talent that he had.
egg.
You know what I mean? Like he could have been,
Bravo.
but I feel like he probably he seemed to be that way amongst his friends. Because remember when he won that Grammy, he's gonna be like, "You're gonna address me as
As
award
Grammy
winning
winning. Hmm.
Vandross," and I was just like, but to the public, he was just so gracious, almost too gracious to a point because
Which is
I was so
why
annoyed with some of the questions that they were asking. I'm like, his weight would not have even been should not have been an issue or a topic of conversation because I think that by focusing on it so much,
it
it
made
hindered
him.
his confidence
Hmm.
in the public eye and he didn't really and everybody loved Luther. And to make his weight a PR moment, I want to throw whoever that publicist was over a rail.
I think you just hit the nail on the head. he was so gracious, beyond gracious about his talent, and he was humble. Like, we just didn't see. That's why we didn't know the challenge he was having being only played on black radio. Um, you know, and I think I just felt like I don't want to say Luther could be more because he is more, but I just felt like he was denied really that ability to shine fully, truly, because he was black and he
Mhm.
was big.
Yep. Yep. Because talent wise and range wise and song category wise, him and Whitney were basically in that same realm. And if you remember, a lot of black radio didn't want to play Whitney's early records because they sounded too popish.
Poppy. Hmm.
And and remember, like, those really slow ballads were extremely popular. We call them like sappy ballad, but we love them because we are yadi. So we love souls. Our souls it name. It's not even damn. This is why we group them in the same category, because vocally and talent, from a talent perspective,
And it's the same to
to
us. It's
me,
like, this is
Luther
good.
and Whitney is right there. It's just that the world saw them, awarded them very differently, and they had but their voice was their tool. It was their magic. It was something that I'm just like, those voices. Even like now, I'm like, I don't care what Mariah looks like on stage. She could stand there and just sing. I really don't care.
Mm,
Mariah's
mm.
voice, her catalog, she ain't gotta do nothing but Mary ain't gotta do nothing but just stand up there and sing. Okay. Like, you're not gonna tell me nothing about these legends. They don't have to perform and do like all the acrobatics that the young people are doing. The catalog that they have with just their voice. I didn't even know about the moment with him and Mariah. Speaking about Mariah, like, singers recognizing other singers, like, and that had like this vocal range of, I mean, talent is one thing, but those voice the his voice alone, like, even that ooh, like,
Ooh.
when I got chills when they just told me he did it in a commercial and then he didn't share it ever again. I was just like,
No, no,
ooh.
no. No, he didn't want to, but it became a signature because
No, he said they said once he did it in the commercial, he never did it again in another commercial because it became his signature
signature
sound.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, Luther
I
was
I
definitely.
was
I'm glad they did the documentary because I think that it kind of really solidifies his, the catalog and the respect. I'm totally looking forward to if it reaches biopic level and put him on a big screen and do his story, completely. I'd watch it.
speaking of which, Michael Jackson biopic not supposed to come out later this year.
I saw the announcement and I haven't seen anything since, so I
Yeah.
can't confirm nor
Yeah.
deny.
Yeah. No, but I
I
just love Lu
cannot confirm
I
nor deny.
I truly enjoyed Luther.
You
You
know
may
who I
not.
think could actually do his biopic really well, at least from a singing perspective? Wolf James. Is it Wolf James? Hold on. He did uh the new edition.
Wolf James?
Hold on.
I know Wolf, no Wolf not in my name.
Something James. Luke James. Luke James.
I was
On his
like,
no. On his Instagram, his Instagram name is Wolf James. So that's why Luke James.
all
That's
right.
the
I was like,
goodness. Yeah,
wait,
yeah, yeah. Luke James. Sorry. Me no good party DMs,
rough.
Luke James. Yes, he has a phenomenal voice. I think he would be able to carry it.
Um, I don't know. I don't really care who plays Luther. I will always have Luther playing. I just love so many songs. I don't have a favorite. Right now as we're recording, there's nothing better than Love is playing in my head, and that's the one he did with Gregory Abbott. No, no, he was in that movie, that actor. He was also in Waiting to Exhale, Gregory, not
Gregory
Gregory,
Hines.
Gregory Hines. I love that song. The video for it, I think it was a black and white video. Um, so many
That's also too.
songs.
He didn't have like I can't remember like a lot of his videos. I remember his music more than I remember the videos. I remember the later videos because
Um, he did have some.
he had a few, but
And
I
then the
wonder if
song with
that
him and
also.
Mike Janet Jackson, maybe he chose not to do a lot of videos.
Yeah,
I know he did a video for The Power of Love.
Power of Love. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't just him. It was like him and other people, and it was like a
But I
mirror,
think that was the
water.
treatment for back
Yeah,
in the
that was
day
yeah,
because no
that
one
was
was dancing. It was just
yeah,
like, when we walk down the street,
yeah.
all of that stuff. So, well, that's what we've been watching. So, what are you looking forward to?
I only really have a short list. I couldn't think of like any major projects. I did watch Squid Games.
Mm.
So the second half, either the second half of the second season or a third season is supposed to come out. So there was a big cliffhanger for that. And then there is this show on Netflix called Mo.
I've
It's
seen it.
about a Pakistani guy who gets into all kinds of trouble. So it's like
He's about
a
to be in
sitcom.
Mexico, and they're like,
Yes, yeah. So it left off with him in Mexico. And so the second season is out. I haven't watched it yet, so I'm gonna watch that.
I'm looking forward to A Thousand Blows, and that is like a period one. It's on Hulu, where
Hmm.
the Jamaican guy them a fight, may fight for my whole
Oh
country.
yes, yes.
Yes,
You did send it to me. Yes, yes.
yes. So I'm looking forward to watching that just to kind of see what that is. But I'm also gonna go in the catalog. My coworkers who be knowing what I do, one told me about a film that, or a project or a documentary that I really think we should watch. It sounds fascinating. I don't know where it's gonna be available, but I'll tell you off the air just in case we don't get to watch it. But we
Okay.
should definitely try to watch it. But that's what we've been watching, Spring Edition. We'll probably do another one before we wrap up the season around the summertime because it look like the studio them now come out with much of anything given that fire burn down most of LA and where they would typically film, so some production is probably going to be halted. um we will continue to go into the catalog. um yeah, I think that's a good place that we could go, so we'll see.
Plenty in the catalog.
Yeah, so we'll see if we reach a June. But me think June is a nice place because if we take summertime fun and just go on and palaver, enjoy the summer. Yeah, so me I say as much as we can. Yeah,
Yes.
as much as we can. But that's it. That's it. Man, I have nothing else to say. Later, walk good, all these things. Take time. I don't know.
Bye.
Bye.